I mean, if you're a Bears fan, you're thinking forward progress. Come on.
10, 219, 219.
Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abaticola on 312 Sports.
You're awarded Forward Progress as of right now. We will spot the ball at its furthest point or farthest point down the field that was achieved before you have been pushed backwards, damn it. And sadly, the Bears compensatory draft pick saga has come to an unfortunate end as the NFL has denied the Bears' appeal to receive compensation for Ian Cunningham being named general manager of the Falcons.
So it's like their second appeal, right? Because didn't they appeal it initially? Didn't they reach out to the league office, and then this time they actually physically went
I think
to
there
the
was
league office?
I guess there was an informal appeal that became a formal appeal.
Okay.
So it sounds like to me that they.
So it's not like the scene in A Few Good Men where she objects, and then she
strenuously.
Yes.
You strenuously object?
I object. Overruled. Well, I strenuously object. Still overruled.
Overruled.
We will hear from the doctor. He is an expert, and the court will hear his testimony.
Yeah, that's what's happened, and the matter is now closed following the club's appeal. That is according to the NFL. That is a quote. The matter is now closed following the club's appeal. The NFL informed the Bears today they will not receive compensatory picks. Ready for the explanation?
I am, because I'm really confused by it, so fire away.
The NFL, the policy is designed to provide picks for the primary football executive position. The league determined Mr. Cunningham did not fill that role with the Falcons as it is defined in league rules. So this is exactly what the NFL said. They have stuck to their guns, despite anything Matt Ryan has said to undermine that official position. The league is saying that Ryan is the primary football executive, even though the quote that we used yesterday on PFT Live, when Matt Ryan said, I think in every facet of the word, Ian's a general manager in this league. This league has disagreed.
And so it has nothing to do with his job role being elevated, right? They're basing this all on job title.
They're basing it on somebody being above him in the hierarchy.
Right, yeah. So
I don't think it's the title
is higher, but his title is higher than Ian Cunningham, even though Ian Cunningham is doing all of the work of football operations.
Correct. But
so it's a promotion from the Bears to the Falcons, but that doesn't matter to the league discerning his role.
Correct. He technically received a promotion, but he is not in full charge. He is still underneath someone. Apparently, you have to be determined to be the top of the football hierarchy, and he is not.
So I don't understand why the league is fighting this so hard. So help me understand that. Like, what does the league lose out by giving the Bears their picks?
Well, remember what I speculated yesterday? That because of what's going on with your guy Uthheimer and the
Florida,
the Florida Attorney General going after the Rooney Rule, Mike Florio here says it's no surprise because the league would have had to admit it got it wrong in the first place. Throw in the recent assault on the Rooney Rule by the Florida AG and a decision to give the Bears the picks would have created a potential political problem for the league, possibly in the form of a late-night social media assault focusing on something other than the new kickoff information. That may be true, but the more I think about it, what do they care? Especially now that Goodell has essentially dug in on the Rooney Rule and said, we like it, we think it's good business. Are they really scared of something posted at Truth Social, the NFL?
Yeah, I don't quite get it. Yeah, because like as you said, they dig in, they stand behind the rule that they've been promoting and using in the league for years. You have an opportunity to show how it plays out, how it works, how it benefits everyone involved, and yet they deny it because of it really just comes down to titles. It's not about work. It's about titles. Ian Cunningham is doing all the work. Matt Ryan has a higher title.
We can debate it all day.
Yeah, I'm not debating. I'm confused by it. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
because
it isn't about just getting a promotion. It's about for these picks, he's got to be the top guy by title.
Yeah, it's just by title. It's not by activity or work. I mean, when the guy above him, it keeps saying over and over again, he's the guy. What does the NFL lose out by giving the Bears these picks?
I don't know.
Unless there's other owners fighting against it behind the scenes.
Or if there is an avalanche of petitions to come based on precedent. If they think that all of a sudden that a door is going to break down and say, whoa, now we got to go back retroactively. What about this guy? What about that guy? They may just feel that the cleanest way they can do this is by clinging to the absolute letter of the rule.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to spend some time and look into anything retroactively. Where there are other similar hirings that took place?
I can't name one off the top of my head.
I cannot name one either. Yes,
I'm just maybe they're speculating. If somebody said, "Hey, remember what happened with Larry?" and you said it was this. Well, doesn't this change that now? And maybe Goodell's just worried about coming back to his office to a bunch of phone calls.
Yeah, I'll have to look into it and see if there's something similar to it, because the only thing I could really think of outside of that would be owners behind the scenes for some reason not wanting that to go through. If someone is in Goodell's ear saying this isn't the way this works out, Matt Ryan is the guy, regardless of what Matt Ryan is saying, regardless of what Ian Cunningham is going to do for the Falcons, which is all of the football operations work. Are there teams or owners that would say, yeah, the Bears, we don't want the Bears getting 2 more picks?
The Packers is Matt LaFleur calling them, having Ed Policy.
Ed Policy, yes.
When Ed Policy isn't busy telling everybody that Matt LaFleur's okay,
and he's a great teacher.
Yeah, it's usually a bad sign when your boss has to come out and keep saying you're good at what you do.
I can't believe that people thought I'd fire him. I'm shocked.
Why would I fire him? Well,
other than the fact we keep losing, in the playoffs, and he's a great teacher. Though.
Yes.
Yeah, because his parents were a teacher, and he's a natural fit to teach these men to be men.
Maybe someday we'll find out exactly why the NFL had to hold so strongly on the letter of this, why they had to be so specific to it. And it's not like it's the Constitution. The league can do whatever it wants. The league, we're not talking about this like there's some immutable laws involved here.
Let's not pretend like the Constitution is.
No, I know, but it's just their policy.
Right.
That's all it is.
Right. It's not Ed policy, it's their policy, and they could say, this he doesn't qualify, or he may not be the top man by title, but he's running all the football operations as Matt Ryan is saying. So the Bears get their picks.
They could have said, you're probably right. This is a borderline case. Here's 1 third-round pick instead of 2. Or maybe we see some merit to this argument. Here's a 4th-round pick.
Sure, they could do anything they want.
Right?
You're exactly right by that. Okay. I just don't get it. It's very confusing to me. Another thing that's confusing, Dan, I want to ask you about this. So this morning I was just reading through and looking through the Arlington Park purchase by the Chicago Bears. Okay,
the original purchase.
Okay. So we're going back 3 years now.
Okay.
The Bears, the McCaskies purchased the land in Arlington Heights from Churchill Downs because they were ready to sell and they controlled the timing of it for $197 million. Now they purchased that land with their own money, their own funds. They didn't have to do anything to.
They didn't borrow. Right.
They didn't borrow. They didn't do anything. They used their own capital to get that property for $197 million. Since then, they have paid a total of. Let me see here. So in 2023, they paid $8.9 million in tax.
Mm-hmm.
In 2024, they paid $8.9 million in tax.
Mm-hmm.
They came to a new tax deal in December of 24, which then gave them a fixed rate for 2025, 2026, and 2027 at an annual rate of $3.6 million in tax. Okay. So that would have been, what is that, $25 million they've paid so far.
Yeah,
So to date, they've paid $222 million to get the property and in tax, with $3.6 million owed this year and $3.6 million owed next year. So $7.2 million they still have to pay out.
Okay.
So right now they're at $222 million. Help me understand this. So if the Cook County assessor looks at the valuation of the property, because it's an unused property right now, they were able to give them a lower tax break instead of the full rate because they're not building, not doing anything.
It's not generating anything other than the value of the land itself. Right.
It's unimproved real estate right now. So they get a better tax rate. Then they come to this deal and they're paying not the $8.9 million, but the $3.6 million. If they were able to purchase this land with their own money, $197 million, able to pay the taxes so far, and then work out a deal to get a lower tax break because they're not doing anything. They're not building a stadium on there right now. Why, in God's name, in the last 3 years, were they not able to, in sooner than where we're at now, why were they not able to accomplish something for a guaranteed tax figure before this mess is all where we're at now with Hammond? Like, why, if they were able to get this tax deal done in December of 24, why were they not able to get something done sooner to say, yeah, we're going to build a stadium. Here's what we're going to do.
All right.
Why couldn't they work out some type of tax deal for at least a certain number of years to know what they're going to be spending for the next, let's say, 10 years or the next 20 years?
Because the negotiation was with a different group about a different tax. This is property taxes. And to do it before anything else is going on, they haven't built their project there. They haven't built anything. So they weren't responsible locally to the Arlington Heights school district when it came to their taxes.
Which is what they did to figure out that deal in December of 24 with 3 of the school districts to say, yeah, we'll pay this amount. We'll give you this break because you're not doing anything. It's unimproved real estate at this point.
So what they're trying to do now is pursuant to the project they want to do, that rather than allowing their property to be assessed after the fact, when it's Hines is replacing Kagi as the Cook County assessor now, that he'll be able, rather than him just making this judgment and looking it over and saying, here's what you're generating, this massive stadium with this many people and this much parking and this much money is going to be taxed to this appropriately for what it's generating and what it means to the community. Rather than doing that, they want, before they start their project, to have the pilot program, payment in lieu of taxes, negotiated with all the people that could lay claim to whatever those property taxes might end up being, the largest group represented being the school districts of Arlington Heights. And until that gets done, they don't feel they can start building there. I think all else is leverage. All else is leverage. Anything else outside of that, all of the stupid, ill-fated dalliances with Chicago, that last gasp possibility, knowing that they could make Hammond dance around because Indiana wants to be business friendly, which means they would rather take care of rich people than their own taxpayers. Because they'll claim, well, it's the job makers, it's the job creators, and trickle down economic. It's all based on everything. It's been proven wrong with every state that's tried to adopt it, that had their schools desiccate and their roads collapse and their bridges be unsafe.
So I just what I have a hard time understanding is, I know that they're very wealthy. They're billionaires, the McCaskey family. Now, there are some current sitting NFL owners that if they needed to pull out $2 billion for a stadium, they would be able to do that on their own.
Right.
The McCaskeys are not one of those owners. They're going to have to take on all of that risk and borrow that $2 billion to put towards the stadium. But so what it seems to me is, as they are wealthy, they are very risk averse. They don't live this type of elaborate, what you would expect an NFL owner to live lifestyle.
Right.
And so to have paid now $222 million with $7.2 million more to go, so they could essentially pay through 2027. So by January 1st, 2028, they could do nothing on that property and have spent $230 million of their own money.
Correct.
On the land and the taxes. I don't understand how the McCaskies are okay with that. I don't understand how they can say, oh, it's okay. We've spent $230 million of our own dollars. They don't see now. I'm sure they have it, obviously,
because they're trying to make it up on the back end. They're trying to absolutely just say, and what Kevin Warren can say is, if you give me more time to work my magic and play people off of each other, we're going to lower our total costs. We're going to pay less in taxes. We're going to own more of it. We're going to have more control over it. And I guarantee you, he's just saying that that's going to be pennies on the dollar compared to what's going to be generated.
And so I knew that's what your answer would be to that. But then it comes down to my next question. Do you believe Kevin Warren? Do you trust that he's the guy to get that done? Because as each month passes, I have less and less confidence in Kevin Warren, and I'm just an idiot who's a fan who doesn't care where they play. How can the McCaskies still feel confident in everything they've seen over the last 18 months?
It hasn't been well done, but I think it's close to being done. I think it's close to being over, this whole story. Mm-hmm. I do think that with everything that is moving forward with ongoing discussions in Springfield with the legislature, that everything syncs up with the time when this term is supposed to be up. And from what I understand, and I'll just say from my sources in Springfield, mm-hmm. I believe the governor's office is optimistic and that the General Assembly is going to pass this and the Bears will be headed to Arlington Heights. That is, if I were betting on it based on everything, I'm not hearing anything that says talks are stalemated, nobody's returning phone calls. All I'm hearing is they're constantly talking. Everything is ongoing, that they're in the horse trading stage of the final aspects of this bill. And now they're just this. Now the political process is occurring, making sure that people get taken care of, that there's compensation for an early breaking of the lease of Soldier Field. But the question for Kevin Warren then is going to be when the Bears actually say, what took so long? Mm-hmm. Why did this take so long? And he comes clean. It'll say, he can say, and what I would say if I were trying to make myself look good from Kevin Warren's perspective, I would say, come on, man, you gave me an impossible task here. You bought the land and then wanted to do leverage. You bought the land and then wanted to shop this around. Everybody knew you owned the land. Everybody knew where you wanted to be. What did you expect me to do? What can I do? I pulled out every stop. So, I had the band playing. I had tried everything in the city. The Michael Reese Hospital site. There, right? We got the preacher. Yeah. They looked at the Michael Reese site. They looked at the Soldier Field renovation. They looked at the 78. They looked everywhere, and it wasn't possible. And we finally got Hammond when we threw out an open casting call to anybody who wanted to offer us something. Hammond looks viable, kind of barely enough that we think we can use it, and we know that we can work them over to have them sell it all for us and make a big deal out of it and make stupid people think that it's real. Like he knew that they could do that, but the question the Bears will have, was it worth it? Was it worth it? The answer might be yes. It might be who gives a shit about 9 million or 3.6 million when you're talking about billions with a B when all is said and done.
Well, I tend to think that the McCaskies care. That's just the feeling I get with it. And then let me see if I'm correct, too, with this December of 2024 tax deal that they got in place to, instead of pay $8.9 million, pay the $3.6 million. And that covers only stadium-related development. So is it possible that they could have been working on developing the stadium, shovels in the ground, getting the stadium built, and just the stadium, while still paying just that $3.6 million in annual tax fees?
I think it's possible, but the Bears unilaterally said they would not begin construction until they had their full tax deal. They said that this was in, to use their parlance, this was tax certainty but not enough for when it was going to be actually open and hosting games.
Yeah, I get that, but to me, it just seems
They
like
could have.
that's missed time to save a lot of money in taxes while getting your stadium up and running.
Yeah, they could have, but
and then figure out the rest around it, right?
Right. It isn't just the missed time of. I don't think it's having to pay those taxes. I think it's the missed time of generating the massive revenues that they're just later to. So that's up to the McCaskies how they feel about that and what their actual expectations were. I don't know. I know for us, it seemed to drag on. Maybe Kevin Warren was transparent about it. Maybe he said, hey, you've given me the very difficult deal here. You're going to have to give me some latitude and a lot of rope here. You cut me some slack, guys, because it's going to take me a while to gin up some pretend leverage here.
Yeah, and maybe he had that foresight, and that's why that December of 24 deal is in place through 2027. That he said maybe, hey, realistically, to get this started,
that was the window.
It might not happen until the spring or summer of 2027.
It's possible that because the internal timetable and the external timetable may not sync up, and when it all ends up, it may just be we knew this would get us here at this time, and we're happy with everything Kevin has done for us. There have been too many shifting goalposts for me to believe that.
Yeah,
too many times our focus is only Chicago. Our focus is Chicago. Our focus is the South Lot of Soldier Field. Our focus now we're expanding our focus to this, and it was all obvious, overt attempts at leverage. They even to the point where in one of the press releases they said this is not about leverage. Come on, man. Like you gave away the game there.
Yeah, that was the one I think they first introduced the Hammond thing, right?
I think so too. Yeah, this is not about leverage.
Right.
All right, then what's it about?
Leverage.
The entire time it's been about leverage, and that's why.
But it's not about leverage. It's just about leverage.
But your new timetable just coincidentally happens to sync up with the time of the General Assembly session.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. One other area I want to look at too. I don't know if you saw on NFL.com, Eric Edholm put out the 2 best fits draft prospects for every team, and I just wanted to highlight the 2 players he had for the Chicago Bears. One being the 25th pick, T.J. Parker, the edge out of Clemson. I think we've mentioned his name once before.
Well, there's the other Clemson guy, Peter Woods.
Peter Woods, the defensive tackle. Okay, yes, this is T.J. Parker, the edge out of Clemson. He ran a 4.52 40. His overall combine score is 6.29, which means eventual average starter. 6 foot 215. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Sorry. Wrong stats. This is A.J. Halsey, the safety. So,
we mentioned him.
T.J. Parker from Clemson, 6'4", 263, a 6.29, eventually an average starter. And then the second pick for the Bears, he has A.J. Halsey, the safety out of LSU. He ran the 4.52 40, 6.29 combine score also as T.J. Parker had. So that means eventually will be an average starter. 6 foot 215, 85 total score though. That's number 1 among all safeties at the combine. The thing about him that I read about his negatives, below average recovery speed. Lot of things about below average or average speed, which doesn't seem to sync up with what Ryan Poles, Dennis Allen, Ben Johnson have started this offseason.
I would agree.
And then one other negative on T.J. Parker, the edge from Clemson. One thing I didn't like in reading about the negatives, the ability for tackles to push outside and keep outside just doesn't sound like something I want from an edge guy.
To push him
like if you're not able to recover, keep him out. If you're not able to recover from that initial hit, I would say, from a tackle, that doesn't sound like a guy that I want in first or second round.
No, there are some guys who, if they can't get to the quarterback, can still affect the play.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want. Somebody who, if you're going to overplay me to this side, you're not going to let me run the bubble and use some speed. Well, I'm gonna cross arm under you, and I can at least come back down and make a tackle. But if you're just riding a guy,
I want from my first round pick a guy that
if you're riding a guy all the way out of the play and that's the only move he's got, that doesn't help you much. So again, keep adding names though. I'm not against any names. There's no bad ideas right now.
All right,
but
one last story.
taking a slow safety with a first round pick is not my idea of maximizing your assets.
No. I'm hoping you didn't see this story.
Why?
But you noticed there were two guys missing from the NFL coaches photo, right?
Yes.
Remember who they were?
They were Todd Monken and Sean McVay.
Yes. Did you see why Todd Monken missed the NFL coaches photo?
No, I think. Okay, let me guess. He missed it because his wife sent him to Home Depot to pick up rose bushes. No.
Good guess, though.
Okay.
Here's the story. Todd Monken created quite a stir. Go ahead. What's your other guess? Give me another guess.
I would say he was too busy watching tape, and he had to grind away at a new defense that he felt he had to counteract.
No. Here you go. This is what Todd Monken had to say. He said it's major disappointment about missing the team photo or the coach's photo. He missed the team photo, Dan, because he was out getting a haircut for the coach's photo.
It's the worst O. Henry story of all time. Now I'm confused. So
there's major disappointment. That's why I went and got a haircut, for God's sake. Monken told Andrew Siciliano in his podcast, I wouldn't have got a haircut if it wasn't that damn important. I went and got the haircut, and then I missed it.
Wait. So I think you're making a logical leap here that may not be true. If he said, I went and got the haircut and then I missed it, it sounds to me like he got the haircut in anticipation of it and then may have missed it for a completely different reason.
No, here's the headline of the story. So this is the story. New Browns head coach Todd Monken explains how haircut kept him from first coach's photo. So that's not a leap, and it's not something I'm making on my own. It was the fact that he got the haircut that made him miss the photo.
He got the haircut he thought he needed for the photo instead of actually attending the photo, and now he's stuck with a haircut it sounds like he didn't want.
It sounds like he didn't want the haircut.
Right.
Correct.
It sounds like otherwise he would have looked, let his freak flag fly. I don't know. But
so if the headline is how haircut kept him from first coach's photo, so maybe he had the time wrong. Maybe it was, all right, we're doing the photo at 11 and he went and got a haircut at 10:30, but the photo was really at 10:30. So there was something there. There was something missed in his scheduling, in his calendar, that the actually getting the haircut for the photo is what kept him from missing the photo.
Yeah, this doesn't bode well. I mean, this is
so
not.
I share this with you to confirm, to solidify,
okay,
to give you greater confidence
that I've made the right call. That he's the first of this class to be fired.
He's the first of the new coaches to be fired.
Yeah, this is not Jim Tomsula walking into a door and cutting his head open on the way to a press conference.
No,
but for an NFL coach to have a scheduling issue, to screw up a scheduling issue, because if that were a player who missed a meeting,
right?
Oh, all hell's come to breakfast.
But especially over a haircut for a photo.
You missed this walkthrough because of a haircut for a photo. Who gives a shit about your hair? We got football to play. And then he's casually like, I don't know. I had to get this damn haircut. Who made him get the haircut?
I don't know. But then I love that the story kind of it hints at the fact that he's irritated or angry or upset that he had the haircut.
Had to.
Yes.
I had to get my haircut for this. I never want to get my haircut. It is the very source of my biblical strength. I don't know what he's talking about.
That's what it is. Or no, maybe it's the source of his football intelligence.
Maybe if you cut his hair, he gets football stupid. Or maybe it's where he keeps his calendar. I don't know.
Who was the head coach that would just drive around and look for lights?
Jim Tomsula.
Oh, was it? Okay, I thought it was Jim Tomsula, yeah.
Yes, that's the guy who walked into the door.
Yeah, so he walked into the door, and then he would just drive around Friday nights looking for lights, right?
Yep.
To creep on high school football games.
Correct.
Okay.
Drive around, we look for lights. All right, have fun with that. Because I think your kids might say, Dad, can we go home?
I'm tired of looking for lights.
And you can look for lights?
Be like, hey, Dad, we have lights at home.
Right. He's like a moth.
His favorite light was probably the refrigerator light.
If you asked a moth what it does on Friday nights, fly around and look for lights.
Yeah, and especially those big high school lights over a football stadium.
Right, at football stadiums.
Loves that.
And they're eaten by kestrels. But this is not quite there yet. But I want you to keep collecting data because this is going to be your next Nathaniel Hackett. It's not Jim Tomsula. It's not as much fun as Jim Tomsula, but I will give him the opportunity.
Yeah, but I really hope that this story is Todd Monken missed the photo because he was busy getting a haircut for the photo.
For the photo against his desire,
yes.
Against his desire. I can't believe I have to get my hair cut. These guys all look good, man. These guys look sharp and in shape, and they're sucking in their guts, and they're sticking out their chests, and they're powerful men, as long as Mike Vrabel isn't like kicking them aside with his massive thighs.
Do you think it was his wife that said, you need a haircut for this photo, Todd?
I hope so. Or one of his kids.
Yeah.
Somebody in his life who said you got to get lined up, get that thing. I need a haircut right now. I know it. I do. It's long.
It is a little long, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell. It gets like around my ears. It's
oh yeah, that's the great indicator.
Yep. So look, we know when we do. And then what happens is I'll get my haircut, and my wife will say, "Oh, I liked it long." I'm like, well, and then if I don't, she goes, "Oh, you really could use a haircut." And I never know which it is. It's like when she comes home after a haircut, I don't say anything. I say, how do you like your haircut? And then if she says, I like it, I'll say, I do too. And if she says, well, she took off too much and I got to redo it, then I'll say, okay. And then I'll run into another room and hide.
You should probably still say that it looks good. It looks great though. Honey.
No.
And then run and hide.
No, because if she doesn't like it and I say it looks great, then she'll say, you're just saying that. And why would you say that if you know I don't think it looks great?
Is that when you tell her to go get back on the Peloton again?
Get on the Peloton, yeah. I said that.
If you get on the Peloton, it might help the way your hair looks.
There was a lot of response to her appearance on DBU yesterday, including as we gathered for the Seder.
Unscheduled appearance.
Yes, and my cousin Brian was asking about it. And he said something funny. He said that Howard Stern broadcasts from his own basement. He said the same thing happened or has happened multiple times when he's been listening to Howard Stern's pod or the show or whatever it is now. And his wife is also named Beth. And he said that there was like a similar exchange where you just hear this voice well off microphone and off camera telling him to go screw himself. So,
well, in so many words, yes.
Welcome to it. Yes.
Yes.
In so many words, be fruitful and multiply, but not in those words. Yes.
All right, that'll do it for Forward Progress on this Friday, April 3rd. Looking forward to a great weekend, and we're back here Monday. Forward Progress through the entire offseason as we are just 20 days away from round one of the NFL draft, Dan. I'm very excited about that. So that's Thursday, April 23rd. We'll get ready. We'll be here for you every day throughout the entire calendar year.
And we will have draft prep too.
Yes, we will.
We're going to be diving in and doing stuff.
Well, we have a lot of stuff to do for the draft.
I know, and I'm starting to feel I'm going to get like anxiety dreams now because I haven't done all my homework yet.
Well, you have plenty of time to get your homework done. He's Bernstein. I'm Abatacola. This is Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast on 312 Sports.
Forward Progress has stopped. 10, 219, 219.
Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abatacola on 312 Sports.